We all know that Meghan Markle likes to be in, of course, the glossy magazines. We told you recently how, when you think about it, Meghan herself said on television that tabloids didn't exist in the United States, and everybody just laughed at her. And people wonder, in fact, on a more serious note, and, Harry must wonder this as well, why people do this. But she says the most ridiculous things. America is the home of the tabloid culture. It really came from there. And then that's really what infiltrated over here in the United Kingdom. We didn't really have those sort of magazines until the advent of the movie magazines like Confidential. And Meghan, of course, of late has been in things like Variety and, of course, Time magazine with that illustrious hair that we all loved and adored. But what's interesting, actually, as ever, is to be able to share the backstory of what some might say was one of her biggest achievements, the very first member of the British monarchy, as she was at the time, to be a guest editor on what was, at that point, a very, shall we say, good-selling magazine, if not best-selling magazine, British Vogue. But here's the backstory. You may be interested. Morning, nice to see you. You all right? Yes, not bad, thank you. Yeah, a lovely vision, isn't it, at the moment here? This calm water, of course. I do like coming down here to film because I think it's a bit tranquil. We all need a little bit of that in our lives, don't we? Oh, yes, we do indeed. And as ever, thank you so much for all of the brand new subscribers that are joining us for our fun friendship group. We are a friendly bunch of people. It's very important. We develop friendships, and I've got to know so many of you. And yet, I like tin jam roly-poly now. I love what somebody wrote the other day with this, said, yeah, but you almost took your hand off trying to get it out the tin. It's true, actually. Lethal, wasn't it? And then you were tapping it for ages trying to get it out. Came out like a lead weight. Then you had to put lumpy custard on just to make it edible. We thought those were the good old days, didn't we? Not fussed about cordon bleu when you've got a tin jam roly-poly, are you? No. You see, came round for dinner, that's what I'd be making. Back as ever to your royal story of the day. Interesting this, because when you think about it, as I said, Meghan Markle, Edward Enninful, British Vogue, it was going to be all about the power of change or some nonsensical thing as ever that Meghan had come up with. Nobody quite knew, of course. And suddenly, all thanks to the Association of the British Monarchy, she was able to connect with big names, people like Jane Fonda, who were delighted, of course, to speak to Meghan on camera. Of course they were. Even somebody like Jane Fonda needed publicity at that age. It doesn't matter what age you are in show business, you always need publicity. And then, of course, we found out the back issue problem about how, there were situations going on and Meghan wasn't sure about certain things. She didn't want to feature on the cover herself because she wanted it to be about the other people. Always time for a change, isn't there? Yes, but what was interesting was because she needed permission from Her Majesty the Queen, our wonderful Queen Elizabeth II, to actually go through with this. And what was actually presented, and this is the thing now about ex-staff members speaking out, the ones we've told you about, the difficulties that Meghan had with regards to the bullying claims and stuff like that. Well, what's emerged was that Her Majesty the Queen, and as ever we have to say allegedly, felt that she was going to be included. This was the allurement, if you like, of the story. And what's fascinating about this is, well, apparently Meghan and Harry kind of went along with it. Let me explain. What happened really was that along the way, Her Majesty the Queen was told, naturally, because they wanted to keep her on side, how this was developing, and rightly so. And of course, people around her expected at some point for Meghan to step forward and say, but the ultimate person, the ultimate powerful female in the world is you, Your Majesty. And they kept waiting and waiting. And I've been told from an excellent source that really that came as something of a shock. Not that she wanted it, not that she needed it. I mean, this is the Queen. Why would she need something like that? But you would have thought just civility, manners, kindness, everything that had been put forward to Meghan may have been kindly repaid back. And it was only when the finality of the magazine came out did the household staff at Windsor Castle realise that, in fact, the Queen wasn't featured. To say she was upset would be an understatement, as I say, not about the inclusion, but really about the lack of kindness and more openness. Once again, it's fascinating to find these backstories and how things really develop. I'm sure you'll agree. Neil Sean in the very heart of Yorkshire.